Failure really sucks. It sucks so much. You try to get fit, but you get fatter. You try to find a gorgeous, godly woman, but you get rejected. You try to launch a business, but it dies before it gets started. And then you find yourself falling back into your old addictive coping mechanisms that makes you feel like a piece of poo. Well, I have words of hope for you today. I promise you this. If you follow the guidance I provide you in this video, it will change your life. Not because I said it, but because I've lived it and I've helped many other men do the same. In 2009, I moved to Austin to plant a church. It failed. In 2010, my wife wanted to leave me, followed by 3 years of misery in our marriage. In 2016, I built a $50 million company and lost it all during COVID. 3 years ago, I filed personal bankruptcy and sold furniture from my house just to pay for groceries. This year, a month after I launched my new business, I landed in the hospital with a bleeding spleen, followed by 2 months of cluster headaches. By the way, 20% of people who get cluster headaches attempt suicide. I've suffered seasons of absolute failure. And the hardest part is when you don't know what your purpose is. If you're a man, you want results. You were created to have a mission to live, a purpose to care about, something that allows your existence on this spinning ball in the universe to actually matter. But before I give you 4 steps you can take right now to completely change your life and start getting the results you want, you need to know something. You will probably be afraid to do what I tell you. So you need to ask yourself, do I want things to continue as they have been, or am I ready for massive breakthrough? Because if you want to see change in your life, you must be willing to change yourself. 4 breakthrough strategies. Number 1, suffering sucks, but start believing that it's good for you. Stripping out screwheads teaches me how not to strip out screwheads. Do you want to change? Do you want results? Suffering is necessary. Here's the formula. Effort times patience equals results, but you will suffer at times along the way. Listen to what the Apostle Paul says in Romans 5:3-4. He says, and not only this, but we exult in our tribulations. Wait a minute, Paul. We exult in? That means we joyfully boast in our problems. Paul, what is wrong with you? Listen to what he says. Knowing that tribulation brings about what? Perseverance. And perseverance brings about what? Proven character. And proven character brings about what? Hope. Think about this train. It begins with tribulation. It begins with problems. But look at the end of the train. Go all the way to the caboose. And it ends in hope. That is the ultimate product when you endure through suffering. I love how Oswald Chambers puts it. He said, suffering burns up a lot of shallowness in a person. Had I not suffered deeply on emotional, physical, financial, and relational levels, I would not be where I am today, helping men around the world build passive income streams for them and those they love. Strategy number 2, learn these words. Everything is my fault. Look, this stripped screwhead, my fault. Even if it's not your fault, when you say these words, you set yourself free to go fix your problems. Years ago, I worked for the richest company in the world, and yet I couldn't afford to take my family to lunch without our debit card getting declined. And for the longest time, I blamed Apple. It was comfortable to blame Apple, it was convenient to blame Apple, and it freed me from taking any responsibility. But nothing changed in my life until I stood in the mirror and I said, my fault. And that is when my business took off. For example, this is just one of 3 different avenues of payments we received for my coaching business. $190,000 in this month, $306,000 in this month, almost $1 million in this month, $383,000 in this month, $332,000 in this month. Had I never taken ownership at Apple for my problems and my finances, I never would have been able to make this much money. Strategy number 3, do not stop until you succeed. I may have a bucket of stripped screwheads before I learn how to do it right, but I'll never learn until I fail enough times to win. We as humans have this funny habit of setting these arbitrary deadlines on when results should be here. And if those expectations aren't met, we go crazy. We want to throw in the towel. Let me ask you something. Who set that expectation? You did. I did. And what did that create? Massive disappointment. And disappointment creates the temptation to give up and try something else. Okay, so you try something else. And for a while, the new thing is easier. But then this new business or new workout routine has parts about it that suck as well. Suddenly, this honeymoon high is over and we face reality shock. So we try something else. Meanwhile, Bobby McGee is still working on business number 1 or workout number 1 or find a great woman strategy number 1 because Bobby understands that jumping ship will only cost him more time and more frustration. Okay, Seth, that's great, you might be thinking, but how do I get results? Well, this next strategy will fast forward you to your end goals if you apply it. Let's say that you're looking for a woman to spend the rest of your life with. And let's say it takes, on average, talking to 5 women before one will give you her number. If you talk to 1 woman a week, that's 5 weeks before you get a single phone number. And even then, she might ghost you, or if she doesn't, she may end up not working out anyways. That's incredibly disheartening, and it will tempt you to believe the lie that you are a failure or that women suck. Instead, take ownership. Your input is way too minimal. So instead of giving into those self-destroying thoughts, try 10 timesing your volume. In other words, talk to 10 girls a week instead of 1 girl a week. And now you will have 2 phone numbers every single week instead of 1 every 5 weeks. That's how I met my wife. I was sick of not meeting a woman I could imagine spending the rest of my life with. So I started attending every event I could. And as a follower of Jesus, I didn't want to waste time talking to girls of a different faith or with no faith because I knew it wouldn't work out. So I started fishing in a very targeted pool. I went to events related to church. I talked to girls at social church functions. Within 2 weeks, I met KK. 8 months later, we were married. 4.5 years later, we had 4 kids, all who are adults today. Input is what you put in. Output is what you get out. This concept will save you so much frustration. You cannot control the output. You can't make someone buy a product. You can't make it not rain when you're still building the house. You can't make a girl give you her phone number. King Solomon wrote in the book of Psalms, he says, unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain who build it. Unless the Lord guards the city, the watchman keeps awake in vain. God has ultimate control over the output, but notice something in this passage. It assumes that the laborer is building, and it assumes that the watchman is watching, because God won't bless nothing. You have to give him something to bless, and he blesses diligence. Using this framework, it took me only 90 days to reach the 100,000 a month barrier. And brother, give me one reason why you can't do that too. Now, if you've tried all this and you still aren't making money, then something is wrong. Like something is off either in your offer or your product or your marketing. And if this is you, join my free community by clicking below and we will help you out. It's 100% free and the men in there are dead set on helping each other win. A few years ago, shortly after bankruptcy, I was sharing my story with my accountability partner at a coffee shop. And we're just talking and this young lady walks over to us. And I look up and she says, excuse me, and her hands were shaking. She goes, I've never done this before, but God told me to come tell you this. She goes, and this is so out of my comfort zone. And she looks at me and she said, keep going. And then she walked away. Those words stuck with me for a long time, especially through some very low moments in my life. So I want to leave you with a word, keep going. You will not fail because you will not quit.